Afternoon, I'm Dennis Ward with a quick look at what our APTN National News reporters are working on. The 2020 pandemic has hurt business owners across the country, but for some areas that rely on tourism, it's hit especially hard, like in the Yukon. Here's Sarah Connors with a look at how Yukon business owners there are coming up with a plan to get tourism dollars back in the territory.
Tourism is the second biggest industry in the Yukon, and around 300,000 people visit the territory each year. Indigenous tourism is also on the rise, especially with Alaskans pumping millions of dollars into the economy. But this year was a devastating blow to Indigenous operators. Air travel into the Whitehorse Airport was down by 96%, and international boarding crossings were almost non-existent. Now, Indigenous tourism operators are having to rethink how they operate. And coming up soon, I'll have a story on how Indigenous tourism operators in the Yukon are hoping for a better year next year.
Thanks, Sarah. Over to Lee Wilson now with a preview of a story he'll have on tonight's show.
I'm Lee Wilson, and soon on APTN News, we will have a story from northern BC where families held vigils along the Highway of Tears, honoring murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls.
With all of these activists all across Canada, it's impossible to look away now.
In Smithers, vehicles showed support for families and supporters. Sisters in Spirit vigils were held across the country.
She lost her voice at such a young age, and I've got 3 younger sisters, and I don't want them part of the statistics.
We will have this story soon on APTN National News.
Anishinaabe writer and broadcaster Jesse Wente is our first guest on tonight's season premiere of Face to Face. Wente is also the executive director of the Indigenous Screen Office. The ISO works to support and develop Indigenous screen storytellers and get those stories on the screen.
It's important that Indigenous people have control and the ability to tell our own stories, because we have experienced as a community and communities what it is when we don't have that power, when other people decide how to tell stories about us, and the damage and harm, the very real world harm that can do.
And the 7th season of Face to Face kicks off right here after the APTN National News. That's a quick look at what we're working on. For updates anytime, you can download the APTN News app or go to aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. See you tonight on APTN National News at 6 Eastern and Mountain Time.